Good to go. Um, Once again, welcome to this class. And this class is basically, we're just going to like have a conversation on how you can start your virtual assistance career. Either you're a beginner or, an intermediate, this class is for you. So we're not just going to be focused on, beginners, right? So the class isn't just going to be about how to's. We're not going to be, oh, so sorry, forgot about this. Okay, so the class is not just going to be about how to's. We're going to be talking about real life solutions. We'll focus on the issues that virtual assistants commonly face in this industry, and then break them down into actionable steps you can take starting, from today. So we're going to be tackling time management. We're going to be tackling how to get jobs and also proposal writings and also how to place yourself in the industry. This is like the most common thing I got when I put out the form for this class. So that's what we're going to be talking about, right? So, okay, hold on. So yeah, this is the agenda for this class. We're going to be talking about understanding the role of a virtual assistant. We just briefly touch on who a virtual assistant is, the essential skills for success, overcoming challenges as a virtual assistant, managing a client's work and time, proposal writing and closing deals, how to position yourself in the industry, and some success stories and, inspiration. So first I want to say, congratulations on taking this first step if you're a beginner towards being a virtual assistant. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So first we'll be talking about who a virtual assistant is. Now, a virtual assistant is, they're independent contractors. Oh, sorry. Brief intro about me. I'm Joy, and my journey into virtual assistance and project coordination began after I earned my BSc in computer science. So I have a background in computer science. I actually started virtual assistant while in school. I think I was in my 300 level when I started. And I also took the software engineering program alongside. So I actually have a background in computer science. And I followed a traditional career path. I realized that, I wanted more flexibility, creativity, and a chance to work with international clients as well as local clients. But I mean, the goal is to bag that international clients, right? So with a passion for technology and a growing interest in supporting executives and businesses, I took the bold step into getting into virtual assistance. I actually had experience in being a secretary, a manager in a physical workspace, but I decided it was time to just move beyond, working in a physical workspace. I needed something that gave me control, something that gave me stability. So I ventured into virtual assistant. And over the years, I've had different roles as an executive assistant, a project or program manager, coordinator, and also a VA, while improving my skills in time management, client relations, and leadership within tech communities and outside tech communities. So I got okay, I don't know, someone raised their hand. Florence, do you want to say something or oh, okay. So I'm actually a certified virtual assistant, and through that, I've been able to build a career that allows me to work remotely with different clients across the globe. And yeah, today I'm excited to share the strategies and how I went through my journey and the tools that have helped me succeed, as well as the lessons I've learned along the way. So my goal for this class is to help you navigate this field with confidence, avoid the obstacles I faced, and also equip you with everything you need to excel as a virtual assistant. So let's get into it, right? So like I said earlier, we'll be, oh, can anyone hear me aside her? If you can hear me clearly, please just, okay. Okay. So Florence, you probably need to log off and then, join again. I hope that helps. So as I said, we'll just briefly scan through who a virtual assistant is, the skills needed, the niches, and all of that. So who is a virtual assistant? A virtual assistant is an independent contractor who provides administrative, technical, or creative assistance to clients remotely. Now, a virtual assistant is not just limited to administrative tasks or just the administrative niche. When I talk to people that want to get into virtual assistant, they're like, oh, I have a problem managing calendars. I have a problem doing this. I have a tech background. Maybe I'm a developer. I'm a designer. How do I become a virtual assistant? I heard it's just about admin work. No, it isn't. It can actually be a technical virtual assistant or a creative virtual assistant, right? So it's not just restricted. And being a virtual assistant actually creates opportunities for you if you want a flexible work and you want to like gain a global client base without even leaving your home. At the comfort of your home, you get to do whatever, meet people all over the globe, right? So the virtual assistant industry is actually growing rapidly due to the increasing demand for remote work and cost effectiveness solution for businesses. You can check this out online. It's actually growing, and I feel like that's why most people are getting into it like speedily. Everybody wants to get into virtual assistant. But is virtual assistance really something for you? Is this something you really want to do? But we'll get into that later. Now, virtual assistants get to work with entrepreneurs, small business owners, and even large corporations, right? And this brings us to the different niches we have. So like I said, we have the admin, virtual assistants. So what they basically do is to handle daily tasks like scheduling, email management, organizing data for clients, travel arrangements, data entry, and so on and so forth. We have the social admin. What they basically do is manage and schedule posts, respond to comments, and grow the online presence of a business on social media platforms, content creation and all of that. We also have bookkeeping. I put in bookkeeping because it's something that it's actually making a slight wave in the industry right now. So basically a bookkeeping virtual assistant, if you're into finance, maybe you have a background in finance, accounting, and all of that, this is for you. So what you basically do is to help small businesses manage their financial records, track expenses, and handle invoices. So this is basically what a bookkeeping virtual assistant do, right? Now we have the customer service virtual assistants. Basically what you do is handle inquiries, complaints, or live chats with businesses, just to help maintain their client base and solve problems, right? So yeah, the flexibility of the virtual assistant career. Now before that, we'll talk about niching. Go back to niching and we'll find out why niching matters as a virtual assistant. Why you can start broad, finding a niche is important. But for me, I always advise people, if you're getting into virtual assistants, don't niche down at first. Explore, look at the different niches, go through, if you can, go through all of them, take courses on them, find your passion, find what do you love, like what do you like to do. Don't just go for it because, oh, I feel like this is what is highest paying. Don't get me wrong, the money is everything. I mean, who doesn't like money, right? I can get into something because I just want to make the money, not because I really have the love for it. But what I'm saying in essence is, for starters, do not niche down, at least for like 1 month, 3 months. Don't niche down. Before you start finding or sending in proposals for a job, don't niche down. Go through all the niches, read them up, find out what they entail, what really goes, like what really relates to you, what really reflects your personality. Look at that, because when you start, you can start broad as a virtual assistant. Finding a niche allows you to specialize, making it easier for you to market yourself as an expert, and this often leads to better clients and higher pays. Now, you have to choose a niche based on your skill and interest. For example, if you're good at social media accounts, maybe you like content creation, you like how do I put it? You just love being on social media, right? Social media is your thing. You can wake up in the morning, sit down, you're on social media. Then niching as a social media virtual assistant is something that would favor you because you already have the passion for it, you already have the interest. So all you have to do is build on it. All you have to do is just learn more about it, right? So you actually enjoy doing that, and then you get to focus on offering that service, right? So now this brings us to the flexibility of a virtual assistant career. Sorry. Now you can work from anywhere, like I said before, in your home, a cafe, while you're traveling. Your office is literally anywhere. You can even go to a beach. As long as you have internet connection, you can work everywhere. But working everywhere does not mean everywhere is also suitable for having calls. If your career or if your job is one that requires you to hop on calls every time, first things first, you want to mind your location. You can have your background blurred and all of that, but if you don't have like the right equipment, like your headset to cancel out noise and all of that, you really can work from anywhere. I just hope I made that clear. So you can set your own hours. Many virtual assistants offer flexibility, working on their own terms based on their client time zones or based on their own time zone. Because as a virtual assistant, if you want to build your international base, the time zones are different. So it's either you're working with a client time zone or the client is working with your time zone. But most of the time, you are going to work with a client time zone. So you get to set your hours. If you're sending out proposals or if you receive a job offer, you tell them what you want, set your rates, you set your own hours, right? Now, scalability. You can start as a freelancer offering basic services, then grow into offering more specialized services or even creating your own virtual assistant agency. I know someone who has her own agency. So basically what she does is she looks for these jobs or they come to her and then she just outsources it to the virtual assistants she has under her. So this is something you can also do. But you don't get to do this when you're just early in your career, right? Just to clarify. Then this brings us to why become a virtual assistant. Now, like I said earlier, before we talk about the benefits of becoming a virtual assistant, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to become one? What's that thing that made you decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to become a virtual assistant? Why? Is it because of the money? Is it because of the industry is booming and you just want to be there? You just want to make the money, the quick money and go. That is fine. But you should also remember that your passion drives you. Your passion drives you. Like I said before, I did software engineering. Why? Because when I got into tech when I was in school, all I kept on hearing then was, oh my god, coding is good, coding is this. If you're going into tech, you have to become a programmer, you have to become a developer. And then I didn't know that, oh, there's something else you can do, because everywhere I just turned to, oh my god, software engineering, software engineering, software engineering. And then I took the ALS program, and I realized that no, this isn't for me. As much as I love like seeing beautiful websites, being the backbone behind that beautiful website, like front end, right? Like creating something so beautiful that people look at the website and they be like, oh my god, this website is designed so beautiful. I was like, you know what, this isn't what I want to do long term. Virtual assistant is not what I want to do long term as well, but it's something that would lead to my long term. And I realized that software engineering wasn't for me. So you have to find your passion, because your passion drives you. It's the first thing that keeps you going. Your why keeps you going. Now, the benefits of becoming a virtual assistant, like we said before, flexibility, being in control of your schedule and workload, which allows for a better work-life balance. Now, I really don't believe in work-life balance. It works for some, it doesn't work for, another. But if it's something you can maneuver, I wish you were the best. And then low startup costs, you don't need much to get started, just a laptop, internet connection, and basic software tools are enough to get you started on your VA journey. When I started, all I had was my phone, which provided the internet connection for me, and my laptop. And I didn't even have like maybe, the some of the job description requires you to have maybe a specific laptop specification or a headset or one thing or the other one. You can literally start without all those, for starters. And then global opportunities, like we said when we started, you can work for clients from around the world without geographical restrictions and all of that, which also leads to skill development. You get to, develop your skills in various fields, from communication to technical tools, while working with diverse clients. And lastly, diverse client base. You can work with, like I said, solopreneurs, startups, small businesses, or even organizations. You can even work for individuals, to be honest. You can work for a private individual. Say I have a job that requires a lot. Like, for instance, I work with an individual as well. So if you just, it's not restricted really. So it's not just about, oh, I have to work for a small business, I have to work for a startup, I have to work for a company. No, you can work for individuals, your friends, your family members, and all of that. And yeah, okay, I think that's about it for the benefits of becoming a virtual assistant. You can find your own benefits, things that might appeal to you, but this is what I really wanted to touch on. And then companies are, focusing on reducing overhead costs by hiring remote workers. This is just to throw this out there as to why the industry is booming, which is also like something you should take note of before going into this, because remote culture has been accepted globally, with businesses now appreciating the efficiency and expertise virtual assistants bring. I mean, I can be in the comfort of my home, and before the client even wakes up, I'm done with the task, I'm done with the job. So it's easier, really. And then the core skills. This is like skills that I have seen that have worked for me, that I feel every virtual assistant should have. First, communication. Communication is key. Like, I don't know how to emphasize this more, but communication is key. As a remote worker, clear and professional communication is something that you need to have. How to communicate your thoughts, how to understand what your client is saying, how to put something to a client that they don't need to struggle to understand it. For instance, you're replying to emails for your clients or something. How do you communicate that? How do you make it clear, in the sense of the person doesn't have to maybe put that thing you said back into ChatGPT and be like, please explain this to me so I understand? Because, to be honest, I've received emails like that when I just started. I received emails like that and I was so confused, and I was like, ChatGPT, please help me explain this thing more to me. So you want to avoid that. So clear and professional communication should be your key when you're interacting with clients, either it's through email, through phone, or through texting. You need to ensure that your message is clear, concise, and professional. You don't have to send a long text just to explain one thing. Make it concise and make it as clear as possible. Now, time management. When I put out this form, I actually saw a lot of persons picking out time management, and all I could do then was just laugh, because it's something that I also struggled with. So I get it. Now you'll be juggling multiple tasks or different clients. So prioritization and time management comes to play. It's key. We'll talk about it later. And then the other tools you can use, tools like maybe Trello or Asana, which can help you keep track of your deadlines and progress, right? We'll talk about that much later. We'll go into details much later on that. And then organization. As a virtual assistant, you want to be as organized as possible. There was this company I worked for, and when I joined the company, they were like, they kept on telling me more grace, more grace. And I'm like, okay, what do you guys mean by more grace to me? And they're like, don't worry, when you start, you know. I spoke with the EA that left before myself. And then she said the same thing. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Only for me to I just logged in the client's email and I screamed Jesus. Like, I was like, you need to see the emails. Like, there was no organization, there was nothing, just bulky emails, both read, unread. Like, everything was just somehow, both the one that was necessary, the one that's not necessary. Don't even get me started on the drive. The drive was something else. So as a virtual assistant, you need to know how to organize. First, you start with yourself. How do you organize your own emails? How do you organize your own drive? My email right now, if you go to my email, you won't see anything. Even though I've not read it, I've read it. As far as it's not important, it's not marked important, you're not even going to see that. You're not going to see like a number of pending emails or something. So organization starts with you. Being organized is crucial, so you don't miss deadlines. That is like the key thing, so you don't miss deadlines and you can handle several projects at once. Because if you're not organized, you have problem handling just multiple tasks or meeting deadlines. So keep your workspace, both physical and digital, tidy. Now, I was sound like a hypocrite for talking about physical, but you have to ensure to keep these things tidy. And then adaptability. This is basically just talking about how a client's needs can change quickly, and you have to be able to adapt immediately to new tools, projects, or situations that will make you stand out. Now, it's not when a client tells you, or maybe a client wakes up in the morning and is like, oh, today I don't want us to work with this tool. I had that issue where a client wanted us to move everything from Google Drive to Confluence, and I was like, I opened Confluence and I didn't even know what was going on there. It was so scattered. It was so, the templates were not even giving me anything, and I was like, I don't think I can survive Confluence. But that skill of being able to adapt immediately came to play. And although I didn't understand Confluence to the maximum or something, it still helped me, right? I was able to adapt quickly to the new tool and, do my work. So you have to learn how to quickly change and meet the needs of your clients. Now, other skills I didn't put in here, we have reliability, being dependable, constantly showing up for meetings and delivering on promises, your attention to detail. You have to ensure that all tasks are completed without errors. Because I've noticed that one thing that clients do not like, even though they do not call you out on it, is error. Because mind you, if you're using somewhere like Upwork for a job, and then maybe the client doesn't say anything and they're like, okay, you can go, maybe you leave the job or something, that feedback, I've seen someone on Upwork, that feedback is not going to be gracious to you, because some clients can be very brutal. They will tell you, oh, Joy did not pay attention to this, Joy is very lousy, Joy is this and that. So you have to be very, very critical and very, very detailed when you're working. So you pay attention to even the littlest things, as much as even knowing what, if you work in a physical space, right? As much as what your boss likes to take every day, you have to pay attention to it, right? So either it's proofreading a document, managing schedules, or processing data, you have to pay attention. Carefully execute the client's instruction to the letter, ensuring that there is no misunderstanding or mistake, right? And then interpersonal skills, empathy, collaboration, conflict resolution, and most importantly, self-motivation. Now, you have to be able to work independently without supervision while staying productive and focused. Because sometimes, even your clients will not motivate you, even your team members will not motivate you. That motivation should come from yourself. You should be able to tell yourself, today, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to accomplish this thing, even though it's hard. I will motivate myself, I will push myself and make sure that I accomplish what I'm supposed to do. And then you have to stay goal oriented. What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? Set those goals and pursue it. And make sure that your goals are clear. Don't give yourself bulky goals, because it's to just, my dear, it's to scatter your brain. I don't know how to explain it more, but it's to scatter your brain. So self-motivation is important. Take initiative, anticipate your client needs, and offer solution before the problem rise, right? And then we have customer service and the whole of that, patience and all. So this brings us to technical skills to master. Technical skills to master, we have Google Workspace. We all know Google Workspace, your email, Gmail, G Calendar, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and the rest of that. And then we have task management tools, which is Trello, Asana, ClickUp, Monday.com, Confluence, Jira, communication tools, Slack, Zoom, Skype, Meet, Google Teams. Okay, no, sorry, Microsoft Teams here. And social media management tools. You have Canva, Buffer, Facebook Insights, Twitter Analytics, Meta Business Suite, and all of that. And for bookkeeping, this brings me back again to bookkeeping. If you want to go into bookkeeping, these are the tools you need that most clients make use of. We have QuickBooks, we have FreshBooks, we have Xero, we have PayPal, Stripe, and all of that. The PayPal and Stripe is mostly for processing payments, just to make that clear. So these are the technical skills to handle. I'm trying to reach through this so we don't take a lot of time. This brings us to, what is your biggest virtual assistant challenge? Now, we've gone through the basis of being a virtual assistant. Now we get to address the real issues or the real challenges virtual assistants face, whether it's time management, getting jobs, or writing proposals. Many aspiring virtual assistants, right, they hit roadblocks, and this can stall your progress. I've gone through that, so I get it. Now, for these challenges, the key thing is acknowledging these challenges early because it's crucial to do so. Once you get to acknowledge these challenges, you get to identify them and then you can find solution. So now we'll be talking about how to identify these challenges and we'll be looking at the challenges that most special assistants go through, right? So just a little backstory. When I started as a virtual assistant, it was like I was doing a whole lot, but I wasn't doing enough. Like I was working. I knew I was working. I knew I was working, but it felt like I wasn't working. It felt like there was no time to do a whole lot. And then when I had to manage the inbox, I was overflowing. You're like trying to handle one task and then another one is just popping up, or they're asking you for a certain task that you've not even thought about starting that particular task. So you're juggling multiple client tasks, and I couldn't figure out also how to secure like better paying clients, because that's one thing. As a virtual assistant, you don't want to. Nobody wants low pay, especially if you're in Nigeria. It's not even going to do anything for you or help you, right? And my proposals as well, this was also my challenge, my proposal. You know, when you think you're writing a killer proposal, you're writing this proposal that is so good, and you're like, oh, why am I not bagging this client? Why am I not getting this clients to reach out to me? Or why am I not getting feedback? We'll also talk about how to write these proposals, right? So the first challenge we're going to tackle is time management. And for that, if you're new to this, just keep an open mind, right? Keep an open mind. Find your passion, which I said earlier. Okay, this is if you're new to virtual assisting before we go into time management, so it doesn't get too much for you, right? If you're new to this, keep an open mind, experiment with different niches, find your passion, engage with virtual assistants, communities. For me, I really don't like this because I'm not one that likes to talk a whole lot or maybe strike up communications in group chats and all of that. So if it works for you, engage with virtual assistant community, ask questions, everyone starts somewhere and all of that. Most people are eager to help newcomers. You can even find a course or have someone just mentor you in the community, right? Check out new learning opportunities, enroll in courses, upgrade your skills, reflect, and reflecting should be on what you enjoyed, what you found challenging, and what can help you identify patterns and preferences. Then the last thing you should do is embrace it. Not knowing your specific challenge is just the beginning when you're exploring, because you feel like, oh, I don't have a challenge, I don't have anything. But when you start exploring, you will find out that there is a challenge, and that challenge might even be yourself or something you're doing wrongly that you need to address, do better, and be better, right? So now we'll move to time management, like I said. But this time management is going to be all about how to master your schedule, because time management is something that is critical yet challenging, especially when you're juggling multiple clients or tasks. Like I said before, you feel like there is not enough hours in the day and all of that. But we're going to look at how to tackle this, how to break this down. And first, the tool I'm going to be talking about is Trello. This is a screenshot of what Trello looks like. And Trello is a visual project management tool that helps you organize your tasks using boards, lists, and cards. Now, this is how Trello looks like. On the side, you get to see your boards, add members, workspace settings, and all of that. Now, there are different templates on Trello that can help you if you're trying to maybe plan a trip, maybe travel planning, to do content creation, social media posting, campaigns, and all of that. Trello has all these things, but we won't be going into detail just to save time. So on the boards, I have Brainstorm. You can create a particular list that has the title of Brainstorm, and then you add different cards on it. You have your to-do, you have your doing, and you have your done. So this is just how simple Trello is. And this is why I really like Trello out of all the tools that I make use of. It's literally just as simple. And you can check it out. You can, visit Trello, sign up for it, and just play around with it as well. Next, we have Asana. Asana is another project management tool, but it's more robust, it's more complex That's why I don't like Asana. It's very complex and you can get lost in Asana. For myself, sometimes I get lost in Asana. I don't know how to handle a whole lot in Asana, but it's great for tracking deadlines. Trello does that as well. You get to track deadlines, assign tasks, and create workflows for complex projects. So I feel, oh no, Asana actually works better for complex projects. So everyone gets to see what you're doing. Like in the screenshots, you have insights, you have reports, and it gives you a report, you have portfolios, you can put your goals, and then you have starred tasks. You can create a starred sheet, you can create projects, different projects in just one board. That's one thing about Asana that I feel Trello doesn't really have as much. In just one board, you get to create multiple projects on there. So Asana is a very good tool if you want to reduce or tackle your time management, right? And then Google Calendar. Google Calendar helps you to keep track of your deadlines, client meetings, personal appointments in one place. And one thing that I love about Google Calendar is you get to color code. You can do that on other apps, but for some reason, I like seeing it on Google Calendar. And to be honest, it was when I worked with this client I'm working with now that I got to know how color coding actually works on Google Calendar. So that's to say you really can know it all, to be honest. And now Google Calendar has this thing where I circled, it's called tags. You get to put in your tags on Google Calendar. Just to put it out there, you get to put in your tags. There's appointment schedule, there's tags, there's events. Events is like the one you got before you came into this meeting today. And then tags, you get to add your title. Is there a note? Is there something you want to, as a reminder, you get to put it there, put the time and all of that. And yeah, this is what it looks like after you're done. This is what it looks like. So Google Calendar is not just for scheduling meetings and all of that. No, you can also use it to prioritize your tasks according to what is most urgent. This is where color coding comes in. And then we have the prioritization metrics. This is something that I try to use, not one I really like, but something I try to use that is simple if you want to learn how to manage your time. Now, is a 2x2 prioritization method, which is a simple method or a simple way to decide what tasks or projects to focus on next. Now, we feel like every task is important. Every task is something that you have to do immediately. I don't know how. Sometimes most people try to juggle a whole lot of tasks and they are like, everything is important. I have to do everything right now. No, there's some tasks that they are high value and also low value, and they require also low effort and high effort. So basically what this is you have 4 quadrants, right? And then you label them importance and non-importance. And then in this importance and non-importance, you have low value, high value. So each of the 4 squares will then represent different combinations of how important or how much effort a task requires, which help you to figure out which projects to prioritize based on how critical they are and how hard they are to complete. It's just a quick way to make decisions, right? So in this little diagram here, we have low efforts, we have high effort, we have low value, we have high value. Now, in low effort, low value, we have to do it later. It's something I can do later. It's not something like I have to do now or submit at this point. It's something I can do maybe tomorrow. Here, I fix that in do later. And also, we have don't do. There's some tasks that they will give to you. You know very well that that task is not something you're supposed to do. But because you cannot say no, you keep on doing it. That goes into low effort to low value. It's something that you can just decide to do. Whether you do it or you don't do it, it's not going to fall back on you. This is when you do this. This is when me, myself, I do this. Whether it concerns me or it doesn't concern me, it's something I can just do later that I know I won't get cautioned for it. It's something I place in low effort, low value. And then I mark it as don't do. Maybe I can revisit it later and do it, right? And then we have high value, high effort. We have the do now and do next. Do now and do next work hand in hand in the sense of this is where your to-do comes to play. Sometimes you might have tasks that when you break them down into actionable steps and all of that, one particular task leads to another task. So this is where do now and do next come to play. Your do now is a task you're starting with, and your do next is a task you're going to do immediately after you're done with your other task. So if you can take a break before you're doing that, it still goes into your do next, right? Now, if this is too complex for you, we have this other matrix, and this matrix helps you organize your tasks into 4 quadrants as well. We have urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither urgent nor important. The neither urgent nor important is one you don't do. You can either delete it or tell the person that is supposed to do that to, come do your thing and all of that. Now, in the urgent and important, we have to do now, which we talked about before. And then the less urgent but important, we have schedule. That's maybe as a follow-up or something. And then we have urgent but less important, which is the one you can delegate. Some people don't like to delegate their tasks. Trust me, if I had a way to delegate most of the things I do, I would delegate it. Not particularly in relation to my job or other stuff. If I have a way to delegate, I delegate. So if there's someone you can reach out to, maybe a volunteer or something, people are basically looking for that to gain experience and stuff. You volunteer those tasks to them, maybe simple researching or something, and then all you have to do is just go over it and all of that before you submit. You can do that. And then we have less urgent, less important, which is the delete. You just take it off. There's no need of debating about it. Just take it off your list so you get to streamline everything you're meant to do. And then how to set realistic deadlines. Instead of setting one massive deadline for one particular project, break it down into manageable steps with your own deadlines. This will help you very well to manage your time. And then you can communicate with your clients ahead of time. Clients value transparency and all of that. So if you feel like a task is taking too much time and it's going to take longer than expected, you communicate with your client ahead of time. This helps you. And then take regular breaks as well to avoid burnout. I feel like many people, including myself, we chase the time a lot. We chase this time that we're not even cautious of our own health or our own body, and then this leads to like a burnout. So working from home you feel like, or you have like a balance of your personal life or your work life, and then when you remember that you have a task to meet up with or a project to meet up with, you start running through the day like there is no tomorrow. You think you're working straight throughout the day will make you productive, but it really wouldn't. Some people wake up from morning in the morning and work till in the night. I have someone like that. They can literally sit for like maybe from 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. and they're working. I'm like, don't you get tired? Like, it's a whole lot. How do you think? I feel like it doesn't make you productive. For some people, it works out, but I feel it doesn't work out to an extent, right? It can lead to burnout, and sometimes it reduces the quality of your work. So for me, what I advise is work for like 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and then take like 5 minutes break. Just keep on repeating it and repeating it. Move around, step away from your computer, stretch, reset. For me, I'll go and sleep. There's not two ways about it. I like to sleep, so I will just sleep. So I have my, my brain and everything working very well. So, okay, these are alternative time management approaches. Time blocking, which I just talked about, dedicate specific chunks of your day to different tasks or categories of work, right? So what it is basically is just for you to how do I put it? Instead of juggling multiple tasks at once, you focus solely on one type of task during its assigned time. Because someone like me, sometimes what I do is I do 2 tasks at once. I do two things at once. I'll just literally split my computer into 2, put like 2 windows separately, and I'll be working on 2 tasks at once because maybe I'm trying to meet a deadline or something, and I realize that it doesn't work. And time blocking helps. So this method just helps you reduce the overwhelm of multitasking, one, and then boost focus because your brain knows exactly what it should be working on at the moment. Not when you split your brain into 2, trying to make it do 2 things at a time. It doesn't really work out. And then we have task batching, still the same thing as breaking them down. We group similar tasks together to tackle them all at once. Doesn't really work, but it's something you can try out. It works best for tasks that do not require a lot of mental energy. Like we talked about before, we have high effort and low effort. So this goes into the low effort quadrant, right? And delegate that task. You really cannot do it all by yourself. This is what I try to tell people. You really cannot do it all by yourself. Delegate it either to a team member or a fellow virtual assistant, or you use automation softwares like Zyper. Zyper helps you to automate repetitive tasks that you do almost every day. That is something you're always doing. You're always doing. This tool helps you to automate that task and does it exactly at the time you do it. So it's something you can check out. And then again, you use the 2 minutes rule. If a task can be done in 2 minutes or less, do it immediately. Do not procrastinate like myself. Do not procrastinate, just do it immediately. And then how to manage a lot of tasks with limited time again. Assess and trim your task list, which we've talked about. Learn to say no, which I spoke about earlier. You don't have to take on every project or task that come your way, especially if it's not aligned with your priorities or adding significant value. You can politely decline that task or negotiate deadlines when you know your place is full, right? You work with sprints. I know developers do sprint a lot, and sprint is like an approach in working in short focused bursts, like maybe 90 minutes of intense work followed like with a 15 or 20 minutes break and all of that. Prioritize self-care. You may think you're so busy for self-care, but rest and recharge time is critical. And then leverage automation, like I spoke about. Automation can help you with repetitive actions, like maybe saving attachments from your email to a folder, posting scheduled social media posts, or even logging your completed tasks to a spreadsheet. Automation tools can help you with this. And then focus on your peak hours. I got to learn about these peak hours from my boss. She talked about how everybody has a peak hour, an hour where you're most active during the day. So that's the time where you're most productive. And then you use less productive times for low energy tasks like maybe administrative work or replying to non-urgent emails that maybe you forgot about and stuff. You just use like a low energy time or your less productive time to reply to that, right? So get to know when your peak hours are in a day. It's really help you. So you got the skills, but now what? Now what in the sense of how do you actually get these clients to hire you? How do you get them to hire you? We're going to be looking at some platforms. We're not going to go in details, but I'm just going to be calling out some platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, ZipRecruiter, RemoteJobs.io. These are job boards that I have used, that I have gone through to get my jobs. And the most effective is Upwork. Aside Upwork, we also have LinkedIn. But LinkedIn, I feel LinkedIn is more about putting yourself out there, putting your work out there, getting to connect with people. Because most times you really don't get the jobs you apply for on LinkedIn. Most times, imagine clicking on a job post on LinkedIn and you're saying over 100 persons apply to this thing. You just lose courage. It happens on Upwork too, but I feel like Upwork is more better because aside sending out your proposal on Upwork, your profile also helps you because when you submit a proposal, they also get to look at your profile, right? So if you're applying to these jobs on Upwork, this is where job tracking comes in. Use Trello, use which other tool? You can even use your normal notepad, honestly, to track your work. But I prefer Trello. Use Trello to track your job applications. You can create columns like applied, interviewing, and hired. It helps you, keep track of things you've applied to, jobs you've applied to, how it went, did you get to the interview stage, did you get hired? Like it helps you really to track this job. And then again, don't apply to everything you see. Focus on jobs where you match at least should I say 80% of the skills required. The remaining 20% you can literally just cover that in your interview, I guess. But I try not to apply to every job I see because who knows, I might not just get that, right? So landing this job, how do you land this job? Now, this brings us to the power of platform. We have Upwork, Fiverr, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and the rest, which are marketplaces for virtual assistants. Not only for virtual assistants, but bringing it down to virtual assistants. And companies and individuals are constantly looking for virtual assistants. But here's the catch: the competition is fierce. The competition is something else, especially on Upwork. You want to apply to a job. Maybe they literally just posted that job like 5 minutes ago, and you're already seeing 50 plus proposals, and you're like, you're scared to send in that proposal, but you really shouldn't. And the good thing is this platform actually allows you to showcase your talent, but it's crucial to make your profile stand out. Your profile is everything. Your profile is literally everything. I don't know how else to stress this. Your profile is everything. Your page, everything you put on your page, your summary, your skill, even putting in the things you've worked on, snapshots and all of that, they help you. And then the standard profile. Your profile is your storefront. It needs to scream. It needs to tell them why you're the best, why you should get hired. The clients, they go through a lot of profiles, they go through a lot of proposals, and you want your own to like bring them to a stop. You want them to be like, okay, I've seen this, I'm interested, I want to find out more. I want to know who this, I want to get to know this person, I want to get to meet this person just based on your profile. And your profile, maybe on Upwork, you can contain like normal your photo, a headline, and profile. Upwork allows you to create two profiles, two work profiles. Maybe you can have one for virtual assistant, and if you're a writer, you have one for writing, right? So you have a headline, you have a summary that tells your story, highlights your unique skills, you put your skill and all of that and that and that and that. But just make sure that it screams you, it is personable. Make everything about your profile personable. As much as clients wants to see all the skill you have and all of that, still make it personable. What's that hook you're putting in your profile? You have to get a hook, something that brings them in, right? And then there's something I wanted to touch on for proposal writing. For proposal writing, a great proposal isn't just about listing your qualifications. It's about showing the client that you understand their needs and you have the perfect solution. Which brings us back to when I said personalizing. Now you have to personalize each proposal. This is something that I found out on my own. I can't even show the proposal I was writing before when I started. My cover letters, they were they were horrible. Let me put it like that. Until I got to attend a webinar by the speaker will be having to be. And I was like, what have I been doing? Even my resume, down to my resume, I'm like, what have I been doing with my proposals? What have I been writing? I realized that in my proposals, I wasn't selling myself. I was just talking about, oh, I've done this, I did this, I had the certification, I went to school, I did this one. It wasn't really personable. I wasn't even relating it to the job. This thing. I was just like, you know what, I'm a virtual assistant. That's literally all you need to know. Until I got to know that you actually have to personalize each proposal. You mentioned specific details from the job post, which I found that is very helpful, very, very helpful. And you maybe you explain how you tackle your challenges and all of that, and don't use generic templates. I see a lot of templates on Twitter, LinkedIn, and you're like, use this template to secure a client. This is the template I use, this is the template I use. And most of them, to be honest, most of them that I have seen, they scream ChatGPT. Because, okay, imagine I take that proposal and I use it. Another person sees it, take that proposal and they use it. And then the client just keeps on seeing that kind of proposal. It's repetitive. There's nothing standing out. There's nothing personable about that proposal. It doesn't relate well, really. It doesn't relate well. Another thing you want to do is keep your proposal concise. Before I used to write the whole lot. Imagine then I had like only 1 year experience as a virtual assistant, and I was sending cover letter that was up to 2 pages. When I went back to read it, I'm like, after I got knowledge of what I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to do, and what I'm not doing right, I was like, why did I send this and expect that I would get a feedback when I wasn't concise? And no client is going to have that time of the day to read an essay. They're not going to read like a cover letter, a 2 page cover letter, right? So you have to be concise, hit your major points, who you are, why you're qualified, and what you do to solve the problem if you notice the problem, and then end it with a call to action. Maybe I love to chat about you and all of that. This mostly works for Upwork. In what I've seen, this clients are like, oh, I love to chat more about it with you and all of that. It opens like the door for you to talk more with them and all of that. So I'll be showing you, yeah, this is the proposal I sent when I got this job. I got a new job, and this was the proposal I sent. Before sending this thing, I was thinking, I'm like, is this enough? Is this not too short? Do I need to add more? Do I need to do something else? And then I realized, what's the point? First, you open with, when you're writing a proposal, you open with like a friendly professional tone. You introduce yourself, your expertise. Hi, I'm this, so and so and so and so, specialized in this and this. If you want to add that, it helps businesses like yours achieve blah 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 blah. You talk about the impact you've made, and I'd love to help you with the project. This is where I'm fit, blah 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 blah. And then you can go into talking about their needs. Like in this one, I said, this is a template I saw, but then I had to tweak it to make it more personable. I was like, if you're looking for a highly organized and detailed oriented administrative assistant who can help your calendars, emails, who can handle your calendars, emails, meeting prep, and special projects, I'm here to help. Now, these calendars, emails, meeting prep, and special projects that I talked about were things that were listed in the job description. I went through the job description, and this was what was listed. And then I was like, with over 3 years of experience as an administrative assistant, I have efficiently managed schedules, coordinated meetings, conducted research, blah, 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 blah. Worked across multiple industries, because we will actually needed someone that has worked in multiple industries, because you're going to be handling a whole lot. And then I'm proficient with tools like this and this and this, which are also in the job description, right? And this is something that I can do. So the better thing to do is, when you're writing a proposal, do not lie in your proposal. Maybe they need a particular tool, you don't know how to use the tool, and then maybe you check out the tool after sending your proposal, and then you realize, I actually can't use this tool, and then you get the job and then you start struggling. So it's better to list the tools that you are good with. If you list 10 tools and you're proficient with 9, there is no need to add the last 2. You can just talk about the other 9 that you know you have strong leverage over, and then the remaining one you can just basically learn on the job. Most people learn on the job, but it's not good. And then I also have strong experience in preparing documents, reports, and presentations. I can conduct research and all of that. So basically, this is me just giving them, throwing back their needs at them and telling them what I can do. Now, this was, I feel like this wasn't really enough, because when I got a response, what they told me was, I went through your profile. And your profile stood out to me. That's why I talked about, how do you organize your profile? What do you put in your profile? Do you list out your skills, what you've done, the impact, and communicate value? Communicate value. I'm laughing at this value because I remember the job interview I had recently. And after the interview, I felt like I have skilled, like I've done a whole lot. In fact, I've killed this interview. And I was expecting like they would come back and be like, oh, you moved to the second stage, because it's a 3-phase interview. I did the first one, I thought I killed it and all of that, only for me to get an email like 3 days later, and then they were like, oh, it was a pleasure to meet you. You didn't communicate. It was hard to pinpoint the value you would bring to the company. And I was like, pinpoint how? And then I remember that what I literally did in that interview was just to talk about what I've done. They were like, have you worked in the real estate industry before? I said yes. I even talked about how I moved, because then when I worked for the company, I moved from being the secretary to the manager, from the manager to the personal assistant. I was like, so when I worked for them, I did this, I did that. And only for me to self-reflect later, and then also reflect on the training I had before, and I realized that I really didn't communicate my value. So that's one thing you have to take note of. As much as you're telling them you've done this, you've done that, you've gone through this, you've gone through that, you also have to tell them, this is the impact I made. They're looking for impact. They're looking for how you solve their solution, not you've gone through this, you're certified this. I think I saw one tweet on Twitter where someone said, that someone finished the program, and then the only thing they kept on saying is, I'm certified this, I'm certified this. They never communicated how, okay, you're certified, so, and so what's your impact? What are you going to give to me? So it's important you communicate this either through your proposal or through your profile, or when you actually get this interview. So this brings us to the speaker we have for today. Just to clarify, she's still on. Okay, she's here. So this brings us to another segment for today. And we have Queen Arit. I call her Queen Arit, or literally Queen. She's going to be speaking to us today, and she's a senior software engineer and the founder of Arit Developer Circle. Now, Queen Arit is like a very special person to me, and she has helped me a lot in my career journey as a virtual assistant. Even aside being a virtual assistant, even in my personal growth, right? She has helped me a lot, and that's why I know she's like the perfect person for this right now. And I know you're going to learn a lot from her. So just a little backstory about who Queen Arit is and her journey here in tech. She got into tech, I think, at age 38. She became a software engineer after being a homemaker with 2 kids for 6+ years, which is mind blowing. And she was, I think she was, or she is, a public health analyst before that, before she started software engineering. And she has worked for both enterprise organizations and also startups. And she is very active in the tech community. I feel like if you don't know who Queen Arit is, like, come on. I mean, those Twitter spaces where you hop on and then you get value, you get to learn from her. But I'll allow her to do her own introduction by herself, just to give you a little backstory about who she is and why you actually need to pay attention. Why you actually need to pay attention in the session, because even myself, I'm going to learn. I'm already open with my pen and everything to just take down things. So, hi Queen, how you doing?
I am good. I am good. Thank you, Joy. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I needed to get some
Thank
food
you.
into my. You know, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. When I saw the picture that Joy used, see, packaging, see, when I saw the picture that Joy used for me, I say, look at how I'm looking.
It's my favorite picture, so I just had to use it. I had this picture since it's a
I know
favorite. That's why I
if you look
used
at my
it.
face like this and you look at the picture,
Mhm.
you see the same person. Just to show you the power of packaging. Okay, so
Mhm.
yes, Joy, I'm so proud of you. I'm sorry I was late to the
Thank
session.
you.
Sorry, I had a meeting that went over. Um,
Okay.
but I am very proud of you. Congratulations on
Thank
launching
you.
your course. I've been on your neck for many months about this, so I'm very proud to
True.
see that you've accomplished. You've done something before the end of the year. I'm very, very
Thank
proud of
you.
you. Well done. Greetings to
Thank
everyone who is
you.
attending. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I'm not going to say much because our time has gone already. I'm not going to say very much. What I will say is virtual assisting is a very lucrative field. It's very lucrative, and the amount of success that you can have in VA is based on the value that you provide for your clients. Okay, so you have some VAs that are frustrated, they're not making any money, they're not making any progress. It's not because VA itself is not lucrative, it's because what are you actually doing that alleviates the burdens of your clients. Okay, if you read the slide that Joy shared some time before this one, where she shared the email, the pitch that she made to a company, right, to become their VA. At the end sentence there, she said, allow me, I'm paraphrasing, allow me to take these burdens, allow me to deal with the day to day that does not necessarily help you grow your business, but is necessary. Let me take that burden so that you can focus on making your company profitable. You can focus on making as much money as you can. And that really is the heartbeat of an effective VA. An effective VA makes their client's life easier. One of the major things that Joy does for me as my VA is she maintains my to-do list. You see, the number of things I have to do on a regular basis. Things that are urgent, things that are important, things that, are necessary now, things that are important but it's not necessary now. And I have different categories of those to-do items. I have home, home life, home-based items. I have work items. I have, our developer items. I have health items, my health, my children's health. I have financial. Okay. Joy maintains all these lists for me. I don't even have to tell her which list. I'll just send her the to-do item or the thing I'm trying to remember, and she will classify it in the current list. Some items have deadlines, some don't have deadline. Even there are some items when I give to her that doesn't have a deadline, she will read it and reason within her mind that, okay, Ari didn't give me a deadline, but this looks important. She will now ask me, is there a deadline? You see? So just that, and I'm not even calling the only thing that isn't the only thing she does. I'm just pinpointing one of the key things that she does. So what that does, so every morning she reminds me of the items on my to-do list. And even with that, I have like 5 or 6 lists with her. It's not every single list she sends every month. No, she's still strategic in letting me know, okay, let me send her these reminders. Let me keep these ones till later. Okay. So why am I sharing that example? I'm sharing that example because a lot of people approach VA as, oh, learn this, learn that, know how to use this, know how to use that. Okay, it's not just that. That's why you have some people, no matter all the VA courses they've attended, all the VA classes, they cannot get a VA job. I'll tell you why. It's because when they present themselves, they don't present themselves as burden carriers. They don't present themselves as, I am going to make your life easier and this is how I'm going to do it. They present themselves as, oh, let me maintain your to-do list. Oh, let me maintain your calendar. Oh, okay. Those are the activities you'll be doing. But your value is actually to make somebody's life easier. Okay. So that's the key thing. You have to position yourself like that. Another thing is you have to learn, and this is something Joy has learned and is still learning, especially when part of your responsibilities is responding to emails, responding to DMs. You have to learn the character and the voice of your client, so that when you respond on their behalf, even if you're responding as yourself, sometimes I'll ask Joy to respond as me. So the person that she's responding to doesn't know it's her. They think it's me. Other times I will ask her to respond as herself, as my representative. It doesn't matter whether you are responding as your client or you are responding as their representative. You have to learn, you have to absorb the way they talk. You have to absorb the way they think, because you are representing them. You have to study your client. You have to get to a point where you can almost predict how your client is going to respond to a certain email or DM or whatever, or message. That's because what you're doing by learning that is you are shouldering some of the psychological burden of that client. So that client can trust you to speak in their voice. They can trust you to speak from their perspective, right? And then it brings a consistency to what, can you imagine if your client's own customers, every time you respond, it's like it's coming from a different person? No, that doesn't present your client as a unified person. You understand? So it's important that if they read an email from your client and they read an email from you, they can believe that it's the same person. So virtual assisting is not just completing tasks. It is literally stepping into the shoes of your client and absorbing the way they do things so that you can properly represent them. Okay. Now, I want to say a little bit, I'm not going to talk for long. I want to say a little bit about landing the jobs. Okay. Joy did a fantastic job showing you the different platforms you can use and how to write your pitch and all of that. I can tell you, just the other day, I think it was like 2 days ago, I get DMs on Twitter all the time from people wanting to work. I just got a DM from somebody that said they finished a VA course and they are looking to be my VA. That's not how you get VA jobs. Okay. If you go on Upwork or you go on Fiverr or wherever and they've made a job post and you apply, that's fine. But you don't get VA jobs by cold emailing or cold DMing people, especially if they don't. I actually approached Joy to work for me. She didn't approach me because I studied the way she conducted herself in spaces, on platforms. I studied the way, just the responsible way that she spoke. She wasn't loose with her words. She wasn't crass on social media. Even when she was being playful, there was still a professionalism with which she carried herself that made me know that I could trust her with my affairs. So you don't go into the DM of somebody who does not. See, that's the quickest way to get scammed. That's one of the quickest ways to get taken advantage of. You don't do that. Okay. So what is one way that you can begin to put yourself on people's radar? You interact with their content. You interact with their content. First of all, your profile needs to clearly state that you are a VA. I should be able to click on any of your profiles and see that that is what you do, and you are, that is what you've chosen to be excellent at. But then you interact with people's content. You comment on their posts, you like, you requote, you share, you quote it and add something that you feel, or you respond. And slowly you keep doing that. You're putting yourself on people's radar. And then you can even, like, I've had people do that before, where, in fact, some of my followers that are in product design, for example, they always watch. I don't do too much events anymore because I'm busy. This year, I completed a milestone. I bought and built my own house. And then, work has been crazy. So I haven't done a whole lot of events online like I used to do. But when I used to do events, I had product designers in my followership that whenever I announced something I was doing, they quickly created a flyer. They were like, "Oh, iDeveloper, is it okay? Are you willing to use this? I saw you have an event coming up. I know it's few days. Are you using?" They put themselves on my radar for me to know, oh, this is what they do. I'm not saying that you go and build an entire brand kit. No, you don't give away the best of your ability for free. But especially online, there are strategic ways that you can begin to demonstrate your skills. Don't just use mouth to say it. There are concrete ways you can begin to demonstrate your skills to those that you are strategically targeting. That so instead of just going into because once you go into somebody's DM and you ask them, you ask for a job, like you're asking for a favor, you leave a bad taste in them. Some of them will even block you. And then when that person blocks you, guess what? In a way, you've shut yourself up from the rest of their network. Okay, so you don't do that. So there are ways that, so now as a VA, is there something that somebody posted and maybe you have an idea, this would look really good in an Excel sheet, or this data being presented would be better digestible in this format or that format. Just go ahead and do it and then post it for them to see. Because now you're demonstrating, and now I'm not saying you now go and ask them for all their data or all their document. No, you don't give away the best of your skills for free. But just like sometimes you go to restaurants and they have those little samples, good. They cut up, piece of meat and put toothpick. Exactly. So that's one of the ways that you can begin to attract potential clients to yourself, is by, you can just choose, maybe you don't do everything. Choose one aspect of what you know how to do as a VA and decide every now and again online, you will find somebody who can benefit from it and you just do it for them. And then you post it, you tag it and say, hey, I thought this would be helpful to you. I thought this will be helpful to you. Let me know what you think. I appreciate your feedback, but I hope this can be helpful to you. Finish. Don't ask for anything. Don't follow up with DM. Oh, I'm a VA. I wonder if I can work for you. No, you don't get ahead in some contexts it might be true, but generally, professionally, you don't get ahead by begging. Professionally, you don't get ahead by begging. You get ahead by showing somebody that with you in their corner, life will be better for them. That's how you get ahead. You don't get ahead by begging. You don't get ahead by begging for opportunity. Oh, give me a chance. The minute I open DM, I see somebody say, give me, I delete. I don't block, but I delete the DM. Because I don't know you to give you a chance. I don't know anything about you to give you a chance. So why are you asking me to give you a chance? Okay. Some people, they are not, they are very unconfrontational. They don't like to say no to people, so they might give you a little task. You convince, oh, they like me. No, there are some people that are so, the way their personality is, they hate telling people no, but deep down they want to tell you no, but maybe they're afraid. They'll just find some small thing for you to do, give you and pay you a little tidbit. But in your brain, you will think, oh, I've landed a client. Well, in some way, yes, it's a client, but sometimes that going into people's DM to beg is the worst way to get ahead. I don't care whose testimony you heard when they say, oh, I DM 200 people and I got 3 jobs. Good for them. But I bet you the remaining 197 people, they have left a bad taste in their mouth. And the thing with leaving bad taste in people's mouths is people have networks. I've sat on a hiring, this is engineering, but I've sat on a hiring table where there was somebody I wanted to put forward to next round. And my colleague was like, no, I know this person for this reason and that reason and that reason. We can't put them forward. But I didn't know the person. I was ready to put them forward. But my colleague knew them by reputation on social media. And my colleague said, no, that what I've seen on social, that person cannot work here. And that unanimous, put their resume in the trash. So I like to tell people that if you are serious about your career, there's a reason why you go on my Twitter. Every now and again, I'll post on mental health. I might post but for the most part, you will not see me running my mouth. There's a reason for that. It's because I have a professional reputation to protect. You will not see me just tweeting any stupid thing anybody posts. I go and quote it. No. Trust me, I have opinions. If I want to share I have many opinions, but I understand the purpose of my professional profile. There are many of you, I go and look at your Twitter, just rubbish. I understand. Many of you are young, you're immature. You've not really understood the power of a professional presence. Don't just post. If you must post rubbish, use a burner account. Create another account, anonymous account, and use that account to post your rubbish. But a lot of people are, whenever I'm considering I'm telling you, I've sat on hiring, we look at social media. It's not just your resume, your portfolio. No, we look at social media. Because the last thing we want is to hire somebody that is loose on the internet and then goes, So I'm just saying that even your internet profile, these people that you're hitting up to hire you as VA, they are looking at your profile. And what they are seeing is not filling them, because to be a virtual assistant, there's different levels, but one of the levels is like a personal, like Joy has access to my DMs. She has complete access to my DMs. So there's a confidentiality aspect of being somebody's VA that if I look at your online and I don't see, why should I entrust you with my personal? Joy has access to my emails. Even through my to-do list. My to-do list will let Joy know what is happening with my children, with my finances. Okay. So that's a big part of it too. A lot of you have not really sat down to think about this VA. What am I really, like, what does it really entail? And all you're doing is you're up in people's DMs begging, oh, give me a job, give me. That's not how it works. Okay. Finally, I would say that in terms of being VA, because I've had that question before, that what about the progression, or what is the progression? What is the progression in that field? The reality is, in my opinion, I think that the progression, first of all, I mean, there are several ways you can take it. You can take it where you now manage a team of VAs. So you can start your own VA company, right? You manage a team of VAs. You can decide to climb the ladder in terms of the caliber of customer that you VA for. So maybe when you first started, you're just a normal business person, but now you want to be VA to a millionaire or something. So that's one way to do it. You can go that route as well. Okay. You can definitely go the education route, the training route, which is part of what Joy is doing, which I think is wonderful. You can go the training route, and not just training in terms of lectures, but also cohort based, where basically you help people to set themselves. You can go that route. Ultimately, I think one of the best things about being a VA is you become very intimately acquainted with software and tools that help make life easier. And so, the way you combine the use of those tools makes you unique. So if I have a VA that the only thing they do is read my emails and answer email, then that VA becomes easily replaceable, because they are only working in one dimension, right? Okay. But valuable VAs that experience longevity in this field are VAs that are able to combine different tools and bring out usefulness from the combination of different tools unique to their, in such a way that, because now I've gotten so used to it. If tomorrow now Joy says she's not working for me again, I don't know what I'll do, because I've gotten so used to her managing my to-do. I don't think, before I had my phone, I had so many lists on my phone, I had so many reminders, bells and whistle. I don't have that anymore, because I don't need to have it. I know every week, every day, without fail, I will get reminders. So again, it's the combination. It's how you take these tools and use it and combine them to create. It's almost like you are now a necessary factor in that person's life. That's what brings the longevity. So VA is not a glorified, glorified secretary, for lack of a better word. It is a highly technical field. And the more I saw how she shared Asana, she shared Google Calendar, these are productivity tools that, as a VA, if you can learn them and become very proficient at them and figure out how to use them together in order to make your clients, you literally become almost irreplaceable, because you clear off 20, 25, 30% of mental load off of somebody's plate consistently. They can take that and channel it into something else and make money. You can work for multiple clients. It's just, in order to do that, you have to be very, very organized. You have to be. They will drop you like a hot cookie if they feel that they are paying you, but then you're spending more time and energy on somebody else. So when you're working with multiple clients, you have to make sure that you still make your clients feel like they're the only one on your roster. Very important. Okay. The minute a client begins to feel like they're not a priority, they'll start looking for another VA. Okay, so one way to up your money is to work for multiple clients, but you have to be highly, highly organized. Highly. And I think the best thing would be schedule your availability to the other clients based on your first, so you have one that you've already been working with and you want to add more. Don't make the mistake of making their schedules or making your responsibilities to them to clash. Don't be working full-time for one client and then your second client to tell them, oh, I can work full-time for you. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. And again, it depends on what you're doing. Some VAs have a lot of face time with their clients. Okay. Some VAs never have to talk with their clients FaceTime. Everything is virtual, So again, it depends on the nature of your responsibilities. But please don't be so fixated on the money aspect that you put yourself in a precarious situation, because you might end up, when they say a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. In your grab for more money, you might end up losing all your VA positions and then you have no money. Okay, so You have to be wise. Okay. All right. I'll leave it there. I know we have some QA coming up. Joy, I don't know if you're there, but I know we have some QA coming up. So I'm available for a few questions and then I have to go. So thank you so much for having me. Joy, over to you. Is Joy not here? Is Joy not here? I guess not. Okay. Who is in charge? Hello, Joy. Okay. Maybe it's a network. That's even one thing I can even say as well. Depending on the type of tasks, prepare for your VA ship. Depending on the type of tasks you'll be doing, sometimes you might need like power bank, you might need a hair. So make sure you're aware of that as well. Like, do not let, it's, the hope is that you will find customers that are kind and empathetic and understanding of your situation. But the truth of the matter is that it's really not their problem. you know, it really isn't their problem. Yes. So make sure that don't put yourself in a position where you're having to make excuses for why you're not doing your job well because of these things. Think about ways you can mitigate whatever the issues might be, power inconsistency, things like that. Yes, network strength and all of that. Really think about, okay, how can I plan ahead so that these things don't end up being a problem? Okay, because no matter how empathetic your customer is, your client is, it's really not their problem. Your network connectivity is not their problem. Power insecurity is not their problem. Okay, so don't make it their problem. It's it's one way to really leave bad taste in people's mouth. And you know, they will have no problem saying, okay, sorry, this is not working out, and go and find somebody that is not always, every five minutes call drop because of network. Okay, so think about that as well and think about how you can best mitigate those things, depending on where you live. Okay, Joy, over to you. I'm done.
Okay. I don't even know what to say again. Thank you so much, Queen, for that. It was really detailed, and I really love the fact that it was detailed. And things I was trying to, avoid, so I don't touch on it, so that it doesn't get like too hot. You just went there, and I knew you were going to go there. That's why I just gave you that particular thing to speak on. And I love the fact that you also touched on a whole lot of other things other than that. So I want to say a really, really big thank you to you for the insights you've given. There were a lot. Even I myself, I've got to learn something new. So, there's always something new to learn when you're in Queen Arit spaces or webinars. If you're not in the developer group, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You miss out on a whole lot. The mentor corners and all of that. It's always something to learn. Even to your personal life, you can translate every little thing she says into your personal life as well. So that's one thing I really love about Queen Arit. Thank you so much for that. So without saying anything much, there's already 7:32. It's late, so we're just going to end it here. I want to say a big thank you to everyone for attending, and also just to bring something else to your notice, I may or may not be having another class on this, but this time around is going to be like more detailed, and it's going to, we're going to talk about how you can, as Queen Ari said, like acquisition strategies, building your personal brand and positioning yourself, setting up your Upwork account. This time around is going to be like a step-by-step procedure on how to set up your Upwork account and possibly get your first client. Yeah, and also how to automate your tax. We're going to be looking at automation tools, how to set it up and all of that. So that's basically what this class is going to cover, and it's not going to be free. Like, this is going to be paid, but that will be communicated later, probably next week or before the end of this week. Well, probably next week it will be communicated on socials as well. So I'd advise you be on the lookout for that. So Thank you, and let's get this money. You can follow us on socials. You can follow I and Queen on socials on Twitter. You can follow me on Modin TY, and for Queen, you can follow her on Arit Developer. On YouTube, the same thing, Jaya Kanolu, Arit Developer, LinkedIn, same thing. And then you can check out our website. Mine is joyakanolu.vzy.io. And for Queen, you can check her out on arit.dev. And if you also want to join her community, maybe you're a designer, you're a developer, you can also join her community. Trust me, there's a whole lot to gain from the community. Like a testimony of that community. So you can join in, just check out her website, ari.dev. You get all the information there. And yeah, I wish you all the best and success in your virtual assistant career. So before we end this, does anybody have like a question, anything they need clarification on before we bring this to a close? Oh, Victor. Okay. Um, all right then. Thank you so much for joining. And special thank you to Edith. I see you. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you once again, Queen. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. So good